prepared for the project that we have, deciding what kind of markets you want to look at testing. And I'm going to just go back to the to MindJet here and take you through just the process we went through. So getting you familiar with the process we want to go through, setting out the project ahead of us, which is to find a market that you want to test and test it on the trend trader initially. So that's week 1. So we've gone through the hard work of developing the strategy. We've designed the system. We've done the system development. We've tested it. We've live traded it. We've set up the performance assessments, and we're going to set these performance assessments that we do for these systems. We're going to be setting that up as a way for us to track each system that we come up with. So, for example, if say Dave, you come up with a system that or settings in a strategy that you want to run with, then we'll give you a performance assessment that tracks that, and we'll track it as well. So what we want to do is we want to continually be tracking the performance of the system, because if we've effectively got 20 or 15 markets that we're testing or tracking, then at some point in time one of the multi-system strategies might be actually underperforming. There might be, say, 5 or 8 multi-system strategies running. And what I mean by that is a multi-system strategy is a strategy that runs on one market initially and has 4 or 5 different, or 3 to 5 different strategies trading. Then the next level is having two markets trading with multiple strategies trading on that market. So you can see that it becomes fairly comprehensive when you put it together. So system improvements is where we're at here. We want to make sure that with our system improvements and any work we do, that we basically, if it's an indicator, we need to kind of confirm that it's going to have some validity in our testing. So ideally I want you to do a little bit of testing yourself to make sure that it's got an edge. The risk management and money management, that's the module separate to this. So if you do want to do those modules, the money management module, and you haven't done any of that stuff before, I'm sure you've only got to ask someone in the group about what that is like. And I think everybody in this group has been through the money management. So I don't need to go too far into that, because you're either going through it or you've been through it. So really we've started implementing the system, and now it's a case of getting the most out of these systems as we go. So the group's task or process moving forward will be meeting every Wednesday. We'll spend probably the structure of the sessions will be we'll go through the new settings and new markets. I'll send those out before we meet, so everybody's got a chance to have a look at them, provide comment and feedback. So we'll do a little bit of a walkthrough initially. Mike will give us an update. I'll provide a bit of an update, and then if there's anybody who wants to take the floor and come in and talk about their strategy or talk about what they're kind of testing or doing, there'll be time for that as well. So really the key focus for the sessions is to report back to the group on the best settings, what's running hot, and continue to track that, to provide the group with updates on coding, how the coding's going, what improvements are going to be made to which strategies, and if there are different changes to strategies as in relation to what we're going to add to them, then we basically want to make sure that if we do that, we go through a process of training you on how to use it. So you guys will get the best, you'll get the first lot of information in relation to any enhancements. So we'll be doing that on a weekly basis if there's an adjustment or an improvement. And the other thing is we want to make sure that that if you do come up with an idea of improving a filter or improving a strategy, get that to us as quickly as you can, so we can kind of look at it, then integrate that into what we're doing as well. So just going through some of the rules for the group, we need to to be in the group, you need to actively be contributing. That's one of the key things. So if we do set a project, and the first one is set tonight, we expect you to be contributing to it. So we don't want anybody in the group who is just coasting and cruising along and not helping, because the idea is that the more involvement we've got in the group, the more work we're doing, the better everyone's going to do. Because I mean, obviously, the more profit potential we have as part of a collective group. If we don't have people working and helping, then it's going to be very difficult to sustain it if just one person is kind of doing all the work or a couple of people are. So that's critical. Feedback is exceptionally good. Any feedback you can put through, that's fantastic. And everyone really needs to understand the systems. So if you don't understand the system, or you're struggling, or and remember, we're starting with a trend trader, so that is the easiest system. Now, if you do need me to go through any of the systems, or you want a little bit of one-on-one, or you need a little bit of a hand with something, just let me know. Just shoot me a Skype message and I'll spend a little bit of time. Yeah, definitely. We can do that, Brian. What I'll do is I'll copy all the ideas that come through the chat today. Also, next week we'll have everybody. We'll make sure that everybody can access the mic as well. So I'm going to open it up next week. I won't do it this week, but next week I'll open it up so everybody can jump in and ask questions. Instead of typing, we'll also have it mic'd up too. But and what we'll do is this general chat. If you've got questions, or you want to put in information here, make sure you put it in the general chat as well, because I'll use that as a reference to the minutes for this meeting. So that way we can follow up if you have an idea that you want to run with, or you want us to look at and investigate, that you have tested up, or that doesn't need testing but just needs to be looked at, like a coding issue. For example, if you're using one of the strategies and you notice something that is a little bit odd, that you're not quite sure if it's right, take a screenshot of it, type the message in here as well, so it becomes part of one of our action items. Because with our meetings, we're definitely going to be running them based on following up on our action items and making sure that we're tracking everything that we do. So Mike's great at following up on the actionable items as far as the coding. So if you take a screenshot, send that through to him, he'll track that for us, so we can get a bit of a response back to the group. And we'll do that on a weekly basis as well. So if you find an issue that we need to take care of, let us know. Now I've set up this in MindJet. I've set up basically. I've started setting up these maps, which I'm going to put together. I've recorded the session, and I'm going to upload the recordings to MindJet. And I'll just make sure. Has everybody got the link to the manual? Has everybody got the link to the manual? I've just got to make sure that everybody's got access to that. That's where we'll have. Yep, all good, excellent. So that's great. So the recordings won't be going there. They'll be just going in here under the Mastermind Group. So this one here, we'll open that up. So that's where we'll be sticking the recordings. So here's our first meeting, the 11th of May. We'll just go through. I'll flesh out the agenda. I'll put in basically the goals for the group, our objectives. We'll be putting in the action items, which are down here. So we've got a couple already. So we'll post those in there to make sure that we follow up. And I'll put the recording in there as well, just to make sure that everybody's got a copy of that. So really our location will be the same time every week. The purpose of the meeting, I've already discussed that, so we know exactly what we're going to be doing every week. The participants of this group, they'll be There'll possibly be a second group. I'll just work out whether what time and when that's going to occur. Our objective is for ongoing collaboration and improvement of the strategies, making sure that we're refining and improving everything as we go. The successes we'll be reporting on every week, so part of that process is getting feedback from you and also making sure that we get our projects completed. The first project is to test a new market and test it using the trend trader. So that's really our goal for the next session, to make sure that everybody picks a market and tests that up and reports that back to me as a strategy report. The meeting summary, well, the meeting will be recorded and the summary of that recording will go up in the meeting. And the action items have already started to come through, so we've got a couple of things there I'll post in as the chat comments, and we'll mark those out as action items. So traders, that's really the way we're going to run it. Any questions at all? Anything you want me to cover off? I want to keep it to a nice clean hour. Probably don't want to go over that. But we should start to get some really good momentum as we go through the process. So we want to make sure that everyone's getting the most out of it, and we start getting some really good strategy reports coming back in, some exciting stuff. I've already seen some of the stuff that has come through from Martin and a few of the other guys, and it looks really good. So looking forward to sharing that. So that's it for me. Anyone with any questions, comments, anything else? Other than that, I've recorded the session. It's a full hour. Alright guys, I'm just going to have a 5-minute break because I've been at it for about 3 hours. So just going to have a 5-minute break for those. I'll just leave a little message in to say that the session will start at about 10:10. And we'll get into it and we'll do a little bit more training. So I'm just going to have a 5-minute break, come back and we'll kick the session off properly. So thanks for your time, everybody. I look forward to, we're on again in another 5 minutes. So cheers.